Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WGL EU Season 1 Relegations. The first time that we're streaming these, and I tell you what, it's been worth it. Some very interesting games. It's excellent to get an insight into some of these teams. Kanaka have made their way to the Gold Series.
Yeah, they just beat WUSA 5-2 on Himmelsdorf, and Mainz, a really good series, and I think Kanaka definitely the better team there, are going to be joining us in the next season, of course, you know, along with out of range, of course, Carmen's team. So those are the two right now from Silver Series that are already in the Gold Series right now. So you can see the progression. You go to Bronze, you go to Silver, and you can make it to Gold Series if you have that kind of dedication that these two have showed. But we could have our third team right now is either going to be RR or it's going to be WUSA.
That's right. WUSA, the last remaining team of those that will move down to relegation from the Gold Series. Both No Mercy and ASAP have already bowed out, and they bowed out in that first round. So it definitely gives you an idea of the caliber of some of these teams we're seeing coming up from the Silver Series and, of course, from the Wildcard. Now, RR coming up from the Silver Series. Definitely with some strong performances there as well. Again, in that top sort of echelon of players. So going up against WUSA, though, have already showed that they mean business here. They drop down, but they want to kind of demonstrate that they have more to show and more to give us. Yeah, for sure.
I think WUSA, you know, just being able to have another chance is super lucky for them to play in the Gold Series next season. I think for RR, you know, managing to beat ASAP very convincingly, and you know, I think that's a great result for them. I don't know who's going to win this one. I think WUSA have been playing on another level. We mentioned that already today. We mentioned that yesterday in the pre-relegations. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard match for the Poles.
Absolutely. Let's see what RR can do now coming out of Poland. Can they take on WUSA? Of course, our first map is going to be Steps.
Steps, the most open map of the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually unfolds the attacks from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light setups, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret, and even SPGs.
Speaking of SPGs, we do have one on the side of RR here. They will be attacking in the blue, coming from the south, and WUSA to defend.
Yeah, so the M44 being picked up by RR, not too unsurprising. We see it quite a lot from these teams. It's definitely one of the more featured kind of artillery pieces. So it's going to be Steps, Lakeville, and Mainz. Mainz obviously being the tiebreaker. That's our three maps we'll be featuring today. And, you know, I think we'll be able to see a few rounds on the second one as well. I think RR definitely have the best chance out of all these teams to make it against WUSA here in the relegation games. But anyway, WUSA pretty aggressive with it. The T-54s going forward. They have the T-32 hull down, and they are very much aware that RR likes to go to that western side, it seems. But, you know, if RR just push forwards, they will get absolutely obliterated by the firing line that is Zinichta and Stefan, who is playing.
It's a good, yeah, Stefan now in the lineup, must be done with football practice here. It's a good setup in the north side for WUSA, to be honest. They have great positions to fire onto RR if they choose to come towards them. Now you can see some shots are being traded, no connections as of yet. Spoink is there to get some spots. Basista does take a hit though, he backs up. You can see here Stefan, FKK Schnitzel is there as well. So great setup by WUSA, really read into this wall. We have not seen this kind of defensive setup yet this season.
Yeah, we sometimes see one tank in the bush just in front of where Stefan was, but all three tanks there. It gives you a good idea that WUSA is very much well prepared for this match. But, you know, if we look at RR, the only real player I know there is Polsved from Evil Pano Squad. Hasn't been playing in the league for a couple of seasons, but is joining us again. And, you know, he is definitely one of my favorite players of all time. A really, really solid heavy tank player. Great in those light tanks as well. So I'm expecting big things from him this time round. See if he can outperform, you know, the likes of Zinichta and Stefan. But RR kind of doing a fake there. They were up north, and they let themselves be spotted heading down south, which means WUSA retracted to that right side. So this is good play from RR. They've got a couple of multifaceted tactics to them, and yeah, they're going to get that northern side.
Interesting here. WUSA getting cold feet in the north of the map and opting just to pull down into the very standard location of the valley. They do have a 54 lightweight up in the distance, up on that hill. It was boosted up earlier on here. So that was Stefan, I think. So he We'll be able to get some oversight here, but Cease might be called on again to get some spots. WUSA don't have any tanks close up, you know, on the 5 or 6 lines here, so they don't really have the greatest capacity to spot right now. We'll have to see how they work around this, because RR are definitely coming forward on the north.
Yeah, RR are, they've got great positions. I mean, the one thing they need to, be wary of is that they've got artillery, so they can't really put it in the cap, so they have to put the T-54s there. But if they do start capping now, they're going to catch WUSA with their pants down, because WUSA are rotating, and they've got a T-54. RR's got a T-54 down south, so they are going to be able to hold those T-54s pretty secure. FKK, Schnitzel and Derzinich do have good cross shots into Lidus and Hero.
This is super interesting here now. Some blind shots are coming through, but there's no way for WUSA to get the intelligence to get the positions of these 2 RR tanks on the cap. If they can just hold their nerve, they can really start to put WUSA under the thumb here and force them to potentially make a very risky move. Basista, he's up forward there on that 54 lightweight, and Polswed as well. Again, the star players here for RR is also quite deep at A5. But there comes in a blind shot. That one does connect on towards Lifidus, but the cap does continue to happen, and those 2 54 lightweights will just continue to shift for a while. But FKK Schnitzel's coming forward now. So WUSA have been baited into this one. They have pushed FKK Schnitzel up, but he's safe enough for the moment. He does take one hit. He can get around the corner of that one, and hopefully WUSA want to keep him alive for now, though they have made the commitment.
Yeah, FKK Schnitzel's in a very bad position because of that T-54 down south. It's going to be able to chunk him down. It's going to really be able to do damage to him.
FKK Schnitzel again in trouble here. I mean, had a tough season with Caston, did manage to qualify for the finals now with WUSA. Still hasn't really made good on that move yet. Well, a lot of damage being taken by WUSA now as they push over that train line. Derzinishta is out in front. Fighter line as well, not too far from it. WUSA have to go aggressive. They know they have to try and take Prosto, should I say, and they need to work from there.
Yeah, but look at this perfect retraction from RR. They're just going to be able to overmatch all these tanks from WUSA.
Really nice Prosto as well. He's staying alive for quite some time here. RR could just push over this train line and just wreak havoc on WUSA right now. They've committed. They're all in right now with these 54 lightweights on the other side of the train line. They know they have to make this strategy work. There's no plan B. There's no going back from here right now. See a good damage being responded though. WUSA holding on, but only just here. Fighter line is almost a one-shot. So is Stefan. Spoink is low as well. There goes Soshek. He gets a kill onto Fighter line. Polswed as well gets one. And WUSA now down to 4. Siege, where is he right now? He's down well in the south. There's not much he can do as well. And still Mojo on the T-32 has to look on as the lightweight squad from WUSA just gets taken out.
They get melted at the moment. A great play from RR. They all find Derzinich. A little bit slow from them, but they do get the job done eventually, leaving still Mojo and Siege. And this was a very one-sided match towards RR. I mean, 3.8k damage still in their favor, and a great start for the Poles.
We're seeing now why RR was so dominant with that 5-0 win against ASAP here. They're just running rings around WUSA literally now as Polsweg can come up behind still Mojo and make light of his lack of mobility here. He's going to go down there. Siege is just hoping to try and stay alive right now and hang on, but a minute 20 is a long time for him to try and stay alive, even as nimble as he is.
Yeah, Siege knows it's going to go towards R. He's just going to go in and probably suicide, maybe get a couple of kills. He's got Hero quite low.
We're trying to go for the reset there, but that's a big hit on towards Siege. Is that HE? I think it is being fired by that lightweight. 450 damage to the one shot, and he's just going to get
probably just 2 shots.
Yeah, I looked for the traces. I wasn't sure, but yeah, either way, that's done. First round going to RR. They're very strong showing for them here on steps, and that fake, as you said, pulling back on that western side just worked out so well for them.
Worked out an absolute treat. I think, WUSA, they definitely paid for not having a 59-16 or a T-37 in a forwards scouting position. They had to have FKK Schnitzel go forwards, who was the main reason why they lost. I mean, FKK was in the middle of nowhere. He was super scared of reversing for some reason, even though there was nothing there behind. All of RR's tanks were towards that eastern side, being able to shoot FKK Schnitzel. FKK could have just reversed and he would have been safe. Instead, he got taken down. That's the T-54 lightweight for free. Then WUSA pushed over, expecting to have some cover from FKK. Of course, that didn't happen because he died. And, RR did make a little bit of a meal of it. They probably could have just gone forwards and made the overmatch while Prosto was, keeping the WUSA distracted. But they got it done. They got it dusted, and good stuff.
What do you think about the T-37 on this map? I mean, it doesn't have the camo value of the 59-16, given its large profile and big turret. So it can't spot. It can't come forward and spot there, you know. I mean, do you just get rid of that straight away? Do you just go for something different? Or, I mean, do you maybe be more aggressive on the north and stay there? I mean, WUSA just got outplayed.
Well, it seemed to me that WUSA was playing the blind shot game, which is normal for WUSA, to be honest. Just making blind shots towards the cap, expecting that to be good enough to reset. And then if they really have to, they just charge over that eastern side. They go in towards the cap and they actually just go for the exchanges there. But I am a big fan of the 59-16 on this map. I think the T-37, it only works in a position where you're positionally superior. You know, when you have the better situation going for you, then you can start using that DPM to your favor. But, you know, Sisha only did 444 damage, but FKK Schnitzel doing 0 damage that round. And RR's artillery did 0 damage. Well, it didn't even come into the equation. Didn't even have to come in, which is definitely a big factor. Sozek doing 2.2k, almost 2,193 in that T-54 lightweight. So good start here for RR. Let's see if they can continue that momentum.
Can WUSA afford to play, as you said it, the blind shot game here? Do they need to change this up? Because, I mean, at least from your perspective as well, you said that it's not really, it's what you expect to see from WUSA, but I don't know, man. It seemed like what they did just then is a great example of what not to do on steps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the thing. WUSA was going down south, right? And then the cap started, and the two T-54s were in a position to, you know, right next to that second cap, to shoot over towards, you know, where the cap in the north is. So they were trying to do that. I think WUSA was trying to be really fast and flexible. They have to stand their ground a little bit. They have to make 100% sure that, okay, the team is going into a different position. Be a little bit more dynamic with that T-37. You know, Cease really didn't do much in that round. And, you know, just don't let RR bully you into these places. Don't let RR just force you to go into these overly aggressive maneuvers.
Can RR justifiably dispense with the artillery? Do you think it's definitely an important part of the strategy here? We didn't get to see much of it last round, but that says more about what WUSA did than what RR maybe didn't do. Yeah. Is that a point of flexibility? Can you get rid of that?
Well, the logic from RR, I guess, is that WUSA's pretty defensive. They played a very slow Gold Series this season, and it's probably the main reason why they lost it. But to be fair to them, in the wildcard tournament and in today's matches, they've been aggressive. They've been going forwards. They've been trying to get those objectives. And I think, you know, RR have that artillery to try and break that old style of WUSA down. But they've seen that WUSA with those T-54s are, you know, flexing around the map, trying to get map control, trying to get information. So, and they haven't gone with artillery this time. Yeah,
Socek actually going for the T-37 here. Figo being moved up onto a lightweight.
It's really weird because Socek actually did the highest damage in that last round for R.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like seeing Ilian on an LTTB sometimes. It's a bit strange, but it's kind of what RR have opted to go for here. Now, WUSA's setup seems to be the same in terms of their tank picks here as well. No 59-16 coming out. They're going to persist with that T-37. And, I mean, RR doing the same thing here. What is WUSA setting up here? Quite northern, really hanging around for quite a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, triple IS-3 is always going to be a right-side push. There's really nothing else you can do with it. We've seen one IS-3, you know, like from TCM Gaming. A few other teams, it'll go the western side. But when you have 3, that right side is really the only option. So you got Vitaline up there in a T-54 lightweight. You had some blind shots from WUSA at the beginning. And, you know, to be fair to them, 3 IS-3s versus 5 T-54 lightweights, a T-32 and a T-37 is a great matchup. And if Persista, the team captain from RR, can just avoid taking too much damage for his team going into this position in the cap on the right side, I think it will be their game again.
Vitaline just trying to make some shots connect. He got one towards Lifidus there. Still a little bit tricky for him to penetrate through the IS-3s on the move, but double shot towards Polswood. He's tracked up, forced to repair that immediately and back right up. Stefan and Spoink have given away their position, but it's a decent little setup from them there. They are in a position where they can get those guns down and on towards RR as they do approach. These IS-3s, have to see how they work. I mean, you know, like you said, kind of gives it away. You know, it's almost inexorable. It's inevitable what they're going to try and do. So that's good for WUSA. It gives them time to work around this one now. But still Mojo not able to connect, but Polswood has taken absolute hammering trying to get towards his cap.
I think, you know, RR should have kept the artillery if they wanted to go for this tactic, because they have to dig out Vitaline in that right side. We've seen time and time again that if you have a T-54 in that area, it's impossible to win this right side push because it can just shoot you from the left, right and center, and the IS-3 turret traverse is just too slow to deal with it.
Vitaline is doing so much work in that position, still untouched. He has not taken any damage right now. It's so rare we see the 54 lightweights in that position able to hang on for so long. Polswood's so low, so is Persista. Now Prosto and Hero trying to break the deadlock. We're trying just to make some ground right now, but that doesn't seem to be working out too well either. Vitaline does take some damage, I'll give you that. really, he's hardly the focus right now, as WUSA have a big core ready, bit of a concave setup, ready to receive RR pushing in. They've lost so much health already. This could go very wrong very quickly.
I mean, Vitaline's done so much damage this round. It's almost chronicle. There's almost no way they can get back from this. It's a terminal position here for RR. They're trying to make something work, and Figo is going for Vitaline.
We're going to get someone towards his 54 lightweight. Yeah, he'll get the kill, but at what cost right now? He sets himself apart from the rest of his team, and he can't contribute in the ensuing firefight. Still, Mojo looks like he's been looked at by Lifford there, but he's on the move, and he's going to push into 4 tanks here. RR pretty much just giving up right now. Basista and Polswed. Polswed somehow still alive. As I say, that caster's curse kicks in. He does go down. Figo gets the track on towards Desernictor. That's repaired immediately. He's going to try and get away from this one as Basista was looking over towards him. And now Lifford is forced to really on his own try and, well, not do a heck of a lot there. He gets blown up, and Basista now behind the rock looking for Still Mojo here. Stefan, in fact, is the recipient of his shot, but RR got nothing to work with right now. Figo is in Fighty Line's spot, but from this position, he's a little bit more vulnerable towards the north. He's taking a heck of a lot of damage. He will go down, and Basista, last man standing.
Yeah, team captain for RR will fall, and a pretty good round there from WUSA. I think RR just walked into a trap. WUSA had the perfect setup. They're very well trained at that setup to deal with one of those pushes. It's definitely one of the easy ones to defend against, and we've seen it fail so many times this season. It's unfortunate, but I think RR, they had a couple of tactics on this map. One of them was a northern push, one was an eastern side push, and they might as well try both of them.
Like you said, and we brought up as well, this triple IS3 push gives a lot away about your approach, about your strategy. Is it worth going for that one? How do you make that work? You know, not considering the enemy's lineup here, because if you take this lineup, I mean, you kind of subject yourself to the enemy being ready for you.
You have to take care of Vitaline. You have to take care of that T-54 lightweight. There's just no way you can win. I mean, he did 2,100 damage this round, and you know, Still Mojo, the second turret in the game, did 1,992, almost 2K with 3 kills. So, I mean, you have to have an artillery to take down Vitaline, or you have to be able to take him to like half HP, engage with the T-54 lightweights, or you know, don't go for the obvious thing with the IS3s on the right. Take them on the left side. There's kind of like a hill area. You can just push along there, and as long as you have support from the T-54 lightweights, you have your tier 6 or your artillery just providing good cover against the T-32 that will undoubtedly be trying to peek you. You can get the IS3s into a position where you can funnel them all into the cap and also shoot where the T-54 is.
So things need to be different here for RR. Their first round worked out well, kind of throwing that strategy into the mix, going for something a little bit different here. And we see this a lot. Teams, especially on the attacking side, vary their approach greatly between the 2 rounds. But at some point, there's got to be an argument for, if it ain't broke, you don't have to fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, WUSA could have said, all right, well, if they're going to go north again, we'll try and set up in that way. But, it's RR seem to be a team that can adapt mid-round. They can make changes. It's what gave them the win in that first round here. And then it's so funny to see them go to a completely polar opposite mentality and go for this, well, you know what we're going to do. We know what we're going to do. Let's just see who can hit more shots and get lucky.
Yeah, exactly. So, but, going on that point, we see teams that usually to do the same thing twice don't win. Like, it's a really key indicator that if you do the same thing twice and you win, or the other teams doing the same thing twice against you and you lose, that you're actually not playing very well, because it's not necessary that you're going to get surprised by the tactic they're using, because there are set plays on every single map. It's more the individual kind of style the teams play the tactics. So just definitely something to keep in mind when you're watching these games, that if the same thing works, you're definitely tilting.
All right, well, let's hope no tilt happens here for RR. Those less experienced teams can be sort of prone to that, but we saw the same from WUSA exiting the league in very, well, unceremonious fashion, it's safe to say, as the bottom team. So here, a chance for them to start to stack those rounds up, like I do like to say. 1 apiece. WUSA now move to the attacking side. Looks like they'll be opting for some artillery here. Still Mojo going to be picking that one up. And maybe they'll go for something like RR did. Maybe we can see, a good example of how to fight against, working on towards that eastern side. We're on the rollout here. WUSA on the attack.
Yeah, so the switcheroo, as you said, 1 apiece is a good start for RR, though. I mean, that second round wasn't great, but I think they can shrug that one off as just an attempt, a shot in the dark. But happy with that first round for sure. They managed to outsmart, outthink, outplay WUSA. But the defensive side definitely easier one. Gone for a very normal lineup though with the T-32s and the T-54 lightweights. No artillery from them, as to be expected on the defensive side on Step. So you got Still Mojo going forwards. He's going to get as close as possible. You know, this is a very normal position for the M44, so he can get kind of straight line shots. Almost hit Sosek there, as it looks like WUSA and well, the fact that Still Mojo is going to that right side does give us a great idea that's where WUSA wants to go, because they didn't get spotted and they didn't find any T-54s. You've got one tank up there, which is Sosek in the T-37 on the right side. That could be a little bit of a thorn in the side for WUSA, but ultimately not that much.
I mean, the fact is that T-37, it's got a big head and it's not as well armoured as, I guess, some of the domes on the 54 lightweights here. It's easier to dig him out, but maybe Sosek just wants to do some spotting here. Maybe just wants to get the information on WUSA's positioning and relay that back towards his team via their radios. You can see Stefan, FKK Schnitzel moving up, Derzenictor as well, getting a little bit aggressive with these guys here. I think Sosek has been lit, and now, I mean, you know, WUSA have some time to deal with this here. Figo's not quite in position yet. I think he's lit. He's behind here. Oh no, could be blind shots here towards him.
He's definitely not lit. He's behind some good bushes. With 40% camo, he'll have to shoot, or Derzenictor would have to get within 50 meters to find Sosek. Okay. You know, very tall tank, bad camo value, but still at that kind of range, there's no way he's being found. So it is on, the onus is on Still Mojo to hit him. The onus is on the artillery to find him. But I'm really curious to see if WUSA is going to break it down. They are starting to run out of time as well. You know, they are waiting for that artillery to go. And Still Mojo just gets... no, that was Stefan gets absolutely destroyed in that T-54 lightweight. That's so unfortunate.
He got ammo racked, man. And then, you know what? He actually got hit in the ammo rack twice in 2 shots. The first shot damaged it. The second one blew the head right off of his tank. That is super unfortunate, but that happens. If your ammo stowage is hit, you're going to go up in smoke.
That's the first time. I mean, the T-54 lightweight's ammo rack is not... I mean, it's not great. I mean, with all the Russian tanks, the T-54s, you get ammo rack quite a lot, but it's not all too common. It's not an IS-3. That's one of the first times this season. Crazy lucky for an R. I mean, that's the dream start. That's an absolute perfect start for them here.
If I were them, I'd be taking a lotto ticket out right now. Lottery tickets. That is ridiculously fortunate. Not only that one shot would hit the ammo rack, because that would have put Stefan at a massive disadvantage anyway, but 2 shots in quick succession? Nah, I don't think so. But Derzenictor now going to get pushed onto here. Our mates sense that they have a chance to come forward now. They have the advantage. Only there's one lightweight off the table for WUSA, and they have that artillery. So definitely more flexibility, more utility for RR now as they choose to come forward. Figo getting a little bit aggressive here, getting very aggressive, pushing towards the bulk of WUSA's force right now, hoping to distract their attention perhaps as the lightweights work their way through the valley. Polswed is out up in front. Figo now just trying to use some hull down towards fighting line, but a few angles are not covered by that T-32. Maybe Hero, maybe Basista can help in this regard, but Figo's too far forward right now. He will get chunked down. So the question is, what will the response be like from RR? They've got some tanks in position now. They're going to force them up the hill. They're going to get aggressive. They're going to get in WUSA's face. And WUSA don't seem to know how to deal with this at all.
Yeah, but Lydius is probably going to go down here. He might have just overextended. Spike will find him, and WUSA are fighting.
That's it. They are fighting back, but will it be enough here? Cease goes down. He drops an IS-3 down. Polswed is going to get responded onto by Smokey, but Hero and Basista do get the 2v1. They overmatch on towards that 54 lightweight here, and RR taking it bit by bit, piecemeal, step by step. Now FKK Schnitzel, the last standing 54 lightweight. He is going to get blown up, and Still Mojo is the last man standing. And I bet he wishes he had an analyst desk to hide behind right now, because those shots are coming in thick and fast, and he is seconds from dropping.
Yeah, this is game over. It will be RR to pick up that round. Let's be honest here, though. We can chalk that. They can chalk that round up to a bit of luck there from RR, taking down a T-54 lightweight. You know, Stefan was peaking. 2 shells penetrated into the top. It's Stefan's fault at the end of the day that he was peaking that situation, but I mean, super unlucky from WUSA. And yeah, that's simple. When you get the T-54 lightweight overmatch, you can just push over and you can finish the game off.
Sorry, Stefan, but deal with it, bro. He just got
someone make a gif of that.
Can I keep these on? These are actually pretty good. He got completely wrecked there as well. There's nothing he could do in that situation. Yeah. It's a bit RNG though as well. There's not much of that in water tanks. There's a range on the damage that can be dealt here, but that's just rough.
The best team usually wins, like 99% of the time. But yeah, that's why we have best of 9 at the end of the day. You know, if something like that happens, you gotta deal with it as a team. I think, you know, WUSA was like, imagine their comms were just like, God damn it, you know, like, what was that about, Stefan?
Are you kidding me? Stefan's like, I don't know what happened, bro. Like, 1 second I was alive.
Off the map.
Rip, dude. Seriously, rip. So, okay. All right, this is an interesting turn of events here. We did say that RR have got to have some gumption here. They've got to have something going for them if they made it this far. But to get 2 rounds off of WUSA as well, one on the attacking, one on the defensive side, shows that they have some depth on this map.
Yeah, for sure. They're a very good team, RR. I mean, they did well in the Silver Series. They're doing well here. And I hope they can go forwards. I mean, they've got 2 rounds on the board now. The second round a little bit dubious from them. You know, some of their players received too much damage. They were a little bit too aggressive. But yeah, I mean, WUSA, let's hope they can get themselves sorted after that loss. Very one-sided loss indeed.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the next map's coming up here as well. So WUSA now on the attacking side. Took the artillery. I haven't seen a lot of great stuff from artillery today. Maybe earlier on we did in that first game, I think. Since then, it's been a little bit lackluster here. Still Mojo not really being able to make the impact he would have liked to. WUSA didn't go with an IS-3 lineup and yet still went for that sort of eastern side, and they were unsuccessful in that one as well. I mean, yeah, we can chalk it up to that lightweight being taken off the map. When you're already one lightweight, well, one of those light tanks down because you have artillery on the board, that nerfs your health point total massively. Then losing another one as well, you're just like, well, we can chalk this one up as a loss. But WUSA, hopefully, you know, they're at least hoping to make it look like that was just a horrible mistake and a catastrophic failure that wasn't in their hands. Now it's time for them to bring it back here, still persisting with that artillery, still Mojo on the M44.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the worst position WUSA's been in. You know, they're a round down. They had a really unfortunate situation there, but they can still have some fighting spirit. But I think RR are playing a good set of tanks. I think they have a real chance here against WUSA. I think they're even playing it better in some respects, but Sojek just gets caught out. He might actually fall here, just managed to run away there. A bit over-aggressive in that slightly slower T-37.
Absolutely. He does go down. Spawn gets the finish on him. RR maybe regretting the loss off that T-37 here. Yeah, definitely regretting that one. Figo on the T-32 here. Again, like WUSA did on their second defensive round, they're setting up quite heavily towards the north here, hoping to get some blind shots and just do some initial damage there. They're adjusting to WUSA. They're getting a feel for them right now, but they've got to get in position. The cap has already started. Figo is not in position to get resetting shots. I mean, the Polesweird hero out the front, but RR have been caught with their pants down here. Yeah,
they definitely have. This is what WUSA wanted to do. They executed the same thing twice, but of course, you know, RR last time they had the T-37 on the hill, they had the T-32 forwards, and then they had the support of the T-54s back. This time they have basically none of that, and now the onus is on RR to go forwards, and you know, Figo will have to go across this middle central area and is going to receive so much damage for it.
Figo now getting chunked down. He has to get into this hold down position. It requires him to cross, as you said, no man's land for a little while. I mean, he has time, to be fair. This cap isn't sort of happening as speedily as we maybe expected. Another track from Spoincon towards Figo just to slow up that march forward of the T-32. Now he's essentially out on his own here. Once he can get hulled down, it's fine, but getting there is the tough part here. Good reset shots on towards 6 though, and that's RR breathing a sigh of relief. They have time to set this one up here. They just don't want to sell themselves too cheap here, don't want to take too much free damage. They want to just keep WUSA off that cap.
It's all going to be about still Mojo as well. He's got to hit the shots against Figo because Figo is going to make the peaks, and you know, Sisha is all on his own, and he won't. Was that a shot there from still Mojo? I don't think it connected, but still, WUSA and RR are going back and forth. Sisha has to stay alive. He has to keep his team back in this game. Obviously, you know, a T-54 going down at this point would be disastrous, and the exchanges are pretty even. It's going backwards and forwards, and you know, these two have almost just set themselves a battle line, and still, it's about Still Mojo hitting those shells.
I mean, Figo is still in that spot. He has to be a little bit careful of Still Mojo, but he hasn't taken any damage aside from the initial shots coming in towards him. This could go really wrong for WUSA right now. They pushed off the cap. They're going to have to go for a plan B here, and they're going to have to hope it works out. The lightweights of RR are sitting back in reserve here, waiting to push out, waiting to flood over WUSA if they make any wrong moves here. And Figo again just trolling the heck out of Still Mojo here, able to avoid every single shot from that artillery.
But eventually he's going to hit a shot. 14 and a half, 15 seconds reload. It's really, really quick, and 700 damage per shell. It will eventually take him down, so RR does have to have a backup plan. So the T-54s in the middle basically means that they can shoot against FKH Shield and Vitline. He does hit that one there. It's actually HE ammo onto Figo. I think the hull down of that T-32, 298mm of mantlet armor, might just be exactly the wrong angle for Still Mojo to penetrate, but I haven't heard any dings from that army yet.
No, we can see now WUSA pulling back. They're going obviously in the other direction now, heading towards the southern side of the map and just, going for something different here. They have to. RR getting chunked down by their fight, but only 3 minutes and 30 seconds left for them to make a meaningful push towards the northern side. And RR, they will be lying in wait for them. One thing going for WUSA right now is having 7 tanks on the field, 7 guns in the game, having still Mojo still alive here, able to, well, so far he's been trying, but able to sort of just shell RR out of those defensive positions, just try and knock them out of those safe havens and put them on the back foot here. You can see Stefan and Derzanisha, Spoink, they're all moving up. They're looking to take this fight to RR.
Yeah, so RR just reacting as well. I don't think they're expecting WUSA because, Derz and Nick to be in that position. They really have been caught with their pants down.
Oh, this could be messy here right now. As WUSA getting pushed onto. Stefan takes 712 damage in a pinch. And now Lifidus looking for Cease, maybe get the finish on him. Facial line up in the back, getting some shots out, and Lifidus is forced to take 2 for his trouble. Make it 3. He's going to try and back up, try and keep himself alive and use that gun for at least one final shot. One parting gift of a salvo. And a Prosto, oh my god, it's all working out for WUSA right now. The RR down to 1500 health, only 3 tanks left. WUSA have the guns in the game. That's all you need right now. Hero picks up Spoink. Prosto, though, will go down. Stefan is a one-shot, but it doesn't matter because Lifidus and Hero are going to get stopped in their tracks. There's the one-shot. Lifidus goes down. Hero, last man standing. WUSA, when it counts, they can make it happen. That head-to-head fight, they knew they had to do something. They had to shift the momentum some way, and they've done it. They make it 2-2.
Perfect stuff. I mean, they kept Defecation to that right side just to peek and, tempt RR into thinking that the whole of WUSA is still there. Keep the other tanks unspotted for long enough, and then rotate the tanks through the middle. Very quick route, straight up and towards that cap. And RR had all their T-54s lightweights just ready to shoot down towards where they thought the T-54 lightweights of WUSA were. Obviously, they weren't, and straight away, WUSA were ahead in HP in tanks. I thought RR didn't do a great job in terms of the engagement. Like one tank went in, another tank went in. It was like kind of like one by one kind of situation. Yep. But yeah, great stuff from WUSA. Do bring all even, an attack and defensive round a piece for these two teams. And the next map will be one we've seen before from WUSA, Lakeville.
This could go all the way. This game could go the distance right now. What we're seeing, I mean, some incredible stuff from both these teams, really. Lakeville is an interesting one. As you bring that up, it was UPS's best map. It was the one that they were bringing as their secret weapon against WUSA, and WUSA turned around and 4-0'd them and said, what now?
Wrecked them completely.
What now?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I think this was obviously RR's map pick steps. WUSA's done a lot of training, probably against Kazna and Penta on Lakeville. And yeah, I think this one is going to be really hard for R to win. But then again, you got to look at it this way. WUSA have seen R have seen WUSA on this map before. They've seen what they've done, and WUSA had a very, very particular style of playing it. And also, they did the same thing twice against Oops. They did that push twice, and it worked both times. So, maybe WUSA has something else up their sleeve. Maybe they have another tactic.
Well, to be honest, I mean, the first 2 rounds of that Lakeville game, WUSA didn't have to do a whole lot except just maneuver and just wait. They pick some clever overmatches here, but defending on Lakeville definitely is a lot comes down to what your opponents do and how they set up. Yep. You have a fair bit of safety on that southern side of the map towards cap number 1 or number 2. I'll be interested though to see if RR are going to really try and shake them from their perch here. We'll rattle the cage a bit, and force them into making a bad decision, because we saw that on our first steps round. I mean, WUSA messed up. They were in the north and they got cold feet and they went towards the east and bam, that was when RR went in. This team has got potential. This is excellent to see. I mean, and it's going to be a long road still from here, still another full map. I mean, either of these teams need to get 3 rounds on this one to take it out, and that is more of a margin, more of a swing than we've seen from either of these so far. Yep. They look very close together. Yeah,
I mean, these two teams are going backwards and forwards. There's definitely misplays and there's definitely errors from both teams. But it is a game of prediction and positioning and getting in those right situations, and that's definitely working in favor for both of them. They definitely have those elements right now. But again, Lakeville has been WUSA's stomping ground today. They've done so well on it against the favorite in Silver Series, Oops. They forward them, as you mentioned. So this could be disastrous here for RR. They have to hang on. They have to go tit for tat. They have to go defense. They have to go for attack. They have to get these rounds on the board and potentially bring it back to steps, which is of course the tiebreaker, I believe.
Absolutely. So steps will be again, which is, it's funny when your tiebreaker map is already played in that series and it was so even. It's super hard to sort of say who's got the upper hand, especially when both of these teams got an attacking and defensive round as well. I believe they did. So that's that doesn't give us anything to go on. We can't even remotely conject as to how that one might go ahead. So we're getting ready here. Tanks being picked for Lakeville. Something, a map that we didn't see much of in the second half of the Gold season. We saw it earlier on. We saw teams like Kazda and Supreme dominate on it here. WUSA tried to sort of stake their claim on it. Didn't really work out for them. But now tonight, they've definitely turned things around. I mean, some changes to their lineup. Stefan didn't play in the earlier games. Now he's in. He's hoping not to get ammo-racked anymore tonight. That RNG. Chat was going off. Chat was like, oh, this is ridiculous. What is this RNG? That happens, bro. Like, as I said, you know where the ammo rack is in your tank. You know what the odds are of penetrating it. Mate, what about wet ammo storage? Sorry.
I'm not a massive fan of ammo racks, to be honest, either. I mean, it's just getting blown up in the middle of the map. You're just like, really? Like, I didn't do anything wrong here. Like, why did I get blown up in one shot? But, you know, you laugh when it happens against someone else, and you cry when it happens to you. So
yeah, you just sit there like wrecked when you do it to someone else.
Exactly. And then you just slam your head against the table when it happens to you against you. So, but, you know, this is what happens. This is the way it works. But it looks like both teams are ready in this next round. And, you know, a very heavy setup from WUSA. You know, IS3s, 5100s. And, you know, 416 from RR, and the RR on the defensive. Yeah,
I like the 416. We've seen it used fairly effectively as well. I mean, the concerns about only the 110-degree turret rotation, it's quite small. They're sort of alleviated when you're firing from range. That's why the tank works the way it does. We've got an amazing gun on it as well, so we can definitely expect to see RR use that from more of a vantage point situation. Ilian is the one for Castor Crew who picks up this tank on Lakeville, and he does some serious work with it there. Great DPM. Can really, really lay the hurt down. So we have moments from jumping into this next map, of course. We're going to check in, get your refresher course on the map of Lakeville. Or not. We'll just jump in. That's all we need to do here. So RR and WUSA are flipped over as well. So RR are actually in the blue, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on that one. WUSA are in red. And this is probably all the refresher course you need on this map. Pretty straightforward here. 2-2. So time for one of these two teams to maybe start to get out ahead, or will this game go the distance?
Yeah, so the second least favorite map in the Gold Series after goes down, and Siege just gets eliminated basically by Polsvet in the IS3. So great stuff there. And I mean, a very similar situation when they played against Oops. They took down that T21 straight away. And yeah, well, still have to see if this is going to be the factor that gives RR this win. But still, WUSA have all their tanks left in this game. Still have all their main combat tanks in this game. But still, a great start from RR. They knew exactly what WUSA wanted to do, and that's the thing. Playing this map again, we saw it worked against Kazda Crew when they played against Penta Sports, for instance. You know, Penta just saw time and time again how Kazda Crew are going towards that left side, and they just managed to counter it perfectly with some good aggression. So RR are sitting back, and WUSA are going forwards.
Are they or aren't they? Are RR going forward or not? Oh, man. Give me a raise. All right, here we go. WUSA, though, making their way across here. They're in the red, so you guys don't get too confused. Socek in the 5916, using that camo value. Hopefully, well, it's a fairly forward position to have a tank here, I guess. So WUSA have made their way through, all the way through the city streets. I don't think they were spotted because blind shots are still going towards the northern side of the map. So this could be an ideal situation for them here. They have obviously lost that T-37 early on. Now that does hurt. Let's see if they can make up for that. Lost time, lost tanks. They can still use these guns and bring them to bear here. So bear in mind, 2 IS-3s as well. So they're going to be brawling out with Basista and Polswed here at these rocks. But the first shots don't go in favour of WUSA at all. And Silmojo takes a big hit.
Yeah, Silmojo just has to back off there. Be careful. But he's in a safe position now. And Polswed and Barista in this 2 IS-3s are in an ideal location as well. And you know, are defensive, and the T-54 lightweights are just getting punished for it. You know, the upper glaciers of that IS-3 at that angle is hard to penetrate. And the DPM is in favour of them, but not by much.
Schmoik now forced to back up here. Couple bounces there, fortunately, for WUSA. Going to be dinging those shots off right now. Keep them alive for a little bit longer. Polswed is fairly low here, taking a fair bit of damage. And you can see that RR are pretty using that middle road here. They're very much just set up in that one spot. So their potential for flanking shots is a little bit limited here. And you can see Socek having to duck and dodge away from those shots coming towards him as he works his way into the city. But the focus definitely towards Polswed and Basista right now. The longer they hold on, the better off RR are going to be in the long run.
Yeah, so Socek is really an important factor right now. If he gets behind WUSA in time, it's game over. But that's the real reason why WUSA's going forwards. They've done great work against Basista and Polsved. And the 4 and 6, it's a very high skill cap tank because of the slow shell traverse, slow shell travel time. So it's not really doing too much work. It's also got heat ammo, so it can bounce against those angle tank armors a lot more.
Shell normalization, not what it used to be on heat shells. Vitaline just going to back up behind Still Mojo here. Those two IS-3s hanging on quite well. They're winning this war of attrition, this slow burn against these two IS-3s. And great positioning straight towards the city there. Spoinkman gets a shot towards Polsford on the side. And this is where you start to sweat if you are these two IS-3s of RR right now. You know that at any moment the enemy could be coming up from behind and just digging you out of that position. Still Mojo just presenting himself as a big threat, trying to keep those guns in his direction, keeping the attention of Basister and Polsford right now, whilst rotations occur around those tanks right now. You can see the lightweight of Prosto is actually up on the middle road. He probably could have been there a little bit earlier on, but FKK Schnitzel, he's found Hero right now. He's ready to deliver, but Hero doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want any of it. He heads it towards the middle of the city as well. Everywhere he turns, there are WUSA players ready to chunk him on down.
Yeah, Hero's just going to die in this situation. There's just no way he can survive. And I'm really surprised he went into that. And it's kind of given WUSA a way back into this game because, let's be honest, RR are getting that timer down. And having lost that T-37 right at the beginning and Still Mojo being a one-shot now for Polsford, could be in trouble, but bounces it. That's the spectacular side armor of the IS-3 coming into the game.
Polsford now, who's the last bastion of hope there for RR defending, but honestly, not too far behind in health. They can make this one up, but Socek now just trying to be a nuisance there, but Stefan will swat him away. And there goes Fighty Line as well, finally goes down, but those IS-3s of WUSA have done their job. Still Mojo now knows Lifidus is a one-shot. He is hoping for a chance to put his shell straight in the direction of that lightweight. Still 5 tanks up for WUSA at the moment. 50-100, sorry, in the middle of the city. And FKK Schnitzel wants to get involved here, but he's out. It is 50 ton, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yes,
or maybe a little bit lighter. But
yeah.
That's the reason.
It's 50 ton, 100 millimeter, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right, same with the 1390. Yeah. So Figo now moving up here. This is not really what you want to do as a 4-1-6, get in towards the enemy's face, but he has to get the reset. He's got no other choice here. His team egging him on, saying, go on, dude, just do it. Take one for the team. And he almost did. There's an issue there, but there goes a shot. There's a reset, and there's a responding fire towards Figo. But he's done his job for now. He's given RR a little bit more time. Prosto's in position right now. Lifidus gets the finish on towards Dersinishta. And FKK Schnitzel will go hunting for Figo. He has plenty of shells left. And Figo, well, he's gone. Lifidus and Prosto now. The 2v2, though, this is turned around. I like what RR have done. Using those tanks, the flanking ones in the middle of the map. WUSA can now no longer cap with just a single tank. They have to commit 2. But FKK Schnitzel is healthy. RR have to exploit the fact that he is an autoloader and work around it.
Yeah, this is game over. This is RR's game.
Brilliant.
WUSA, wrong choice of tank with FKK Schnitzel on that 5100, 100% useless. Basically it did a decent amount of damage, but you could see it's just too slow. Picked the wrong side of that house, and you know, they just couldn't do anything against the push of the 416 and the T-54 in the background. You know, obviously you send that 416, had plenty of HP forwards, have the T-54 there as well. RR had the tanks alive, they just didn't have the HP necessarily. And, you know, 37 seconds left on the cap. FKK Schnitzel have to find 2 T-54s. This is WUSA throws. WUSA throws.
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty easy to get frustrated at WUSA when they have such an advantage and they manage to turn it around in such, well, have it turned around in such a nasty kind of way. Lifidus now can just camp up here, sitting pretty. They've managed to interrupt the cap. Oh yeah, the 5100 definitely made me wonder what FKK Schnitzel was really trying to do with that. He got a couple shots there, but surely he wasn't really fulfilling a concrete role. And RR, sit back, deal with it is going to be the name of the game right now. They could just relax, let the round time tick down, and get their 3rd round on the board.
I mean, really unexpected. I mean, WUSA, they worked so hard for that round. They did so well. They had an interesting tactic with the T-54s all that way down into engaging those IS-3s, and then they just gave it away just at the end by going in the cap, not pushing for the advantage that they had, and then having FK Schnitzel in a really weird tank pick. I mean, we can have a look how much damage he did. He did 669 damage in the AMX 5100. He was too slow for that map.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny to say that in a 5100, but if you're part of the part of your team that's making these rotations and trying to flank the enemy and get around them, you have to be faster. I mean, yeah. And yeah, the 100mm on that tank is decent, but again, like you have an autoload. You don't have sustained damage. You can't constantly lay down harassment. You're a flanking tank. You're a secondary line of assault kind of tank. When you're trying to, I don't know, pivot around your IS-3s like that, it's just not going to work out. we mentioned as we were watching the game as well, and we sort of said, okay, it looks like RR are clumped up as one group on that cap site number 1.
Yep.
But once they did move towards that middle road, it seems like they just turned things right around on WUSA.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they just went straight down in towards the cap. They managed to take them down really easily. I think RR misplays, you know, Hero, T54. RR had 3 tanks in the city,
Sure.
right? All separated, all on their own. And they got very lucky that they met FKK Schnitzel because he was just too slow to take them down across. You know, the T54 just charging right past him. So they kind of got lucky there. But yeah, I mean, objective play from RR. Pretty lucky with one of the T54 lightweights being low on HP. And WUSA going for that cap without having the angles necessary.
Well, that was definitely a bit of a blooper for WUSA, and it's not one that they can afford to really make at this point. They absolutely have to win this game. Sure, be confident about your first few matches. Yes, you won the wildcard tournament. Yes, your first round was a 5-0, but RR seemed to be on a different level, a higher caliber than the opponents that WUSA have faced in the past, and now they have to rejig their stance. They've got to, you know, try and reset amongst the heat of battle and go for this one. They're down around. No one wants to be in that position, especially not against a team that ostensibly on paper you feel like you should have the advantage against. This is a Gold League veteran side going up against the Silver League upstart, and they're being embarrassed right now. They have to turn this around and hope the tilt doesn't get to them. Yeah,
exactly. But it's been tit for tat for these two teams. You know, WUSA won the previous round. RR now wins this round. It's very likely that WUSA will come back and actually manage to pick up around here as well. But they had it in their hands. They could be going towards match point. You know, they could be on their 4th consecutive round. But they gave it away at the last minute, and that's been, you know, a storyline for WUSA. They're now under pressure by a good team.
Yep.
You know, RR's a very good team. They weren't challenged that much in the wildcard tournament. They weren't challenged by Oops. I don't know why. And you know, this is just the WUSA we know, and they really have to get themselves sorted.
Well, let's see here now. Seish, again, is the man pushing in towards the city. You can see here IS-3s are bound for both teams. No 50-100 this time for FKK Schnitzel. He's going to be relegated to that IS-3. Seish has moved up here, does have the binocs, so he will be able to get some spotting here towards Sochek. He has to wait for them to activate. He has to stay still, otherwise they don't click over.
Yeah, so this is a good start, though, for WUSA. I mean, Seish went down last time. That was a big factor as well. That's so close onto Seish, but, you know, it's a timing thing. If Seish stays in that position for long enough, he's not going to be shot at because RR will have to retreat. And you could see already WUSA's hit 2 big damage shells, 3 big damage shells. Hero down to about 30-40%. Seish now, Sozek even just going down low, thanks to a huge double tap from the two T54s. This is WUSA and Seish in a great position.
I mean, you can talk about RNG as much as you like, but Seish getting the better end of it this time as those shots whistling towards him, not connecting, and RR not having spotted him. Or, Caster's Curse. My bad. And what was destroyed there? His optics?
Optics.
Oh, that's rough. That's super rough. Now, Seish, so he's had to repair them. Yeah, there's no way that you can sort of do your job as a T37 without having those functional right now. So he's backed up behind that rock, trying to stay safe, and he'll poke out a little bit later. But WUSA are really making a push towards the south here. They're very much just set up, going for the blind shot game. This didn't work out so well for them on steps.
No, but so far they're winning the blind shot game. They're over 1,000 hit points ahead. Yes, they got a slightly heavier lineup, but they can really do whatever they want. And, you know, the T54s are heading towards that western side. WUSA's very much aware that RR must be on that western side. So they left Seish there in the T37. They got the double IS3 of Vitline and still Mojo there as well. So I think there's going to be a 2-pronged attack. A little bit surprised that they haven't got a T54 in the middle, but I guess, you know, with FKK Schnitzel in that heavy tank as well, WUSA have enough hit point advantage and also enough time to be able to push an IS3 through that like boggy ground in that western side valley and just, you know, force a mismove from RR and just out brute force them.
The setup now is towards the valley. Spoink, Stefan, and Dersnista are set up here to push on, but the problem is that there's such a setup here for RR. Have a look at that. See, so many of them are in position to just receive this kind of push, and WUSA haven't really done their due diligence on this one. If they're going to come forward, it's going to be very risky now. FKK Schnitzel will be leading the charge on the IS3. Spoink and Stefan will flank him. Oh, there it is. The damage towards FKK Schnitzel. Due diligence can pay dividends right now. And WUSA just walking straight into this one here. They're going into the Crucible. They're between a rock and a hard place. And there's no backpedaling. There's no reversing for them right now. They have to go forward and meet their destiny. And FKK Schnitzel always seems to be on the receiving end of these blooper clips for WUSA. WUSA, he has screwed the pooch yet again.
Yeah, this is really bad news for WUSA, but you know, RR still low on HP. They have the more tanks in the game, but you'll see WUSA slow it down a little bit as they wait for those IS-3s to ingress in towards the 59-16 in the IS-3 down to that eastern side, but the 3 T54 lightweights just want to go for the damage.
Figo got trunked down there. He's a one-shot right now. He's going to try and be shielded, I think, by the rest of his team. Prosto does soak that shot up, but Figo gets one before he dies. Spoik now going to be the target as Limpidus and Prosto looking straight towards him. WUSA are getting the better of this engagement, but only just. It is messy. It's not pretty at all. Quick and dirty. As Spoik goes down, Derzanista now, 2v1 situation for him. He's trying to get the shot towards Prosto, finish him off. He does. What an important shot for him to get. That'll be important later on now. 4v4. It is so close. The capture has begun. Limpidus should be able to get the finish on Derzanista. Derzanista is that kind of player that can come up with those crazy strats. Oh no!
What the hell?
He hasn't connected that one. That's so nasty.
Did it just went straight through the T54?
I think the tracer might have been off there because it didn't hit him. Straight up didn't hit him. No, still Mojo goes down. This is going all wrong for WUSA right now. 3v2 situation. No chance to cap for WUSA right now. They're going towards Batista, trying to get that 2v1. Sishi's going to even get involved in it, but if he takes a shot in the rear, he's got to be careful. He could go down and Feisty lane as well. Trying to do what he can here. I'll tell you what, it's going to be tough though. It's a double tap towards him, and he has just got up against the wall right now. 3 tanks from RR looking straight at him. C's not even a factor right now. No one is interested in firing on that T37. Fights like he's in trouble.
Yeah, so the T54s up north just got, on the western side, just got completely, absolutely annihilated. That was super bad play by those T54s. And then, you know, they could just retract back and take care of the IS-3 and the T37 that was pushing.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. WUSA are on the precipice of being relegated. They fought their way through the wildcard tournament. They thought they had it, but RR have just showed up in the biggest of possible ways on Lakeville.
They're just so solid right now. I mean, there's mistakes from both teams, but I'm really enjoying what RR is providing. They're winning individual plays against some of the top players. I mean, Derzanista losing out then, but it is just good stuff. They expected WUSA to push on that western side, but I'm not sure why WUSA pushed there. I mean, what's the point? WUSA spotted the whole of RR going towards that place. They know they're going to receive a lot of damage. Those T54s are going to be low. So, and also WUSA had the higher hit points. They had the heavier lineup. They could have just pushed that right side and taken care of them like they did in the previous round. So I think that's just a misplay from WUSA, the wrong tactic, and also just bad play on an individual level.
Talk to me about this push through the Lemming Valley as well, because, you know, it's one we watched it and we said we were had a bit of trepidation about it. We're like, this could be risky because WUSA don't have a lot of information about the positioning right now of RR. They don't want, okay, fine, they don't want to go for the eastern side, but when is that ever a good idea to go like that?
Well, it's a good idea if you can get into the cap without, you know, without receiving too much damage, without losing a tank. You know, that's the whole point. If you get caught into a situation when you're, you know, playing around that that plateau area and also towards that right side, you're just not going to be able to win.
Sure. So, I mean, WUSA didn't even get that far as well. So the fact that the setup was there, it's suicide to push down that valley. They didn't have the information. As I said, they hadn't done their homework. They really didn't really know what they were going up against. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, if you can put a bunch of 8-year-olds with red buttons to shoot and have the tanks aimed in the right place, and it's still going to be the same result. They walked into that one. The soft ground as well is tough for the IS-3 to traverse. It takes time to get through there. We call it Lemming Valley in public games for a reason. And teams so often follow each other and just filter their way in there, and they just get crushed. It's like a trash compactor for tanks, really. I don't know. I really don't know. And then after that, so after that initial fight, it was still fairly even. And then WUSA just lost their grip on the game.
Yeah, they did. But I think, again, misplays by WUSA. They had the advantage, had every single advantage going for them in 2 rounds in a row. And now, you know, you got a position where RR are on match point. I mean, they really could walk away with this. I mean, WUSA have to win the next 2 rounds. They have to start putting things on the board. Otherwise, you know, they're out of the Gold Series.
Incredible stuff here we're seeing. Not only, of course, well, we might see 2 teams, you know, 2 fresh teams in the Gold Series here, which is just unexpected, of course. We're going to see 3 fresh teams potentially as well, if you consider out of range as well. They're going to be in that Gold Series next. This is our last broadcast before the finals as well. Like, I'm hanging on to this game for dear life because we have a break of, you know, 2 weeks before season finals. But these games have delivered. These are going to keep me going now. But now, WUSA, it is do or die. The gatekeepers might be about to become the gate kept here. Match point, relegation point, whatever you want to call it. WUSA have to pull their socks up and come out guns blazing.
When they were playing against Oops, they definitely were good on the defensive side. They won both rounds, so they look stronger on the. I mean, they won both attack as well, but they look strong on the defense. So I would say WUSA picks up at least one round here. But again, they have that pressure on being on that last round. RR are literally one step away from actually going to the Gold Series and having all those benefits of being in the Gold Series. So this is going to be a huge round for WUSA, the biggest rounds of their careers. It could be one of those veteran teams bowing out.
I mean, if you're in a position of RR as well, you know you have a buffer. So you have 2 match points in the bag, 3 even, before it goes to a tiebreaker. So why not just throw something wacky and see if it takes WUSA by surprise? If you lose, the worst that's going to happen is that you have to play this again in a reset scenario, and you go with something different that WUSA may not be suspecting. So, I mean, you know, that's just me talking here, but let's have a look at what is actually done here. RR already sending their lightweights out towards the valley, but WUSA as well. They're going to go shore up their defenses on that western side. They don't want to be taken blindside here by any push from the valley.
Yeah, so WUSA's definitely playing like they did last time, but I think Oops actually played a similar tactic with the 2 T-54s, but it didn't work out. WUSA just pushed them, they took them down, and then they got control of that western side cap. But either way, WUSA are in the better positions. It's also still 3 versus 3, but of course that better position gives WUSA an advantage. The IS3 seems to be trundling its way, maybe going on a scenic route for RR towards that western side where we saw FKK Schnitzel get obliterated in that previous round. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not sold on it. I mean, it will be essentially an overmatch. RR have the 4v3 if they push on towards this one, I think. No? Not sure, actually. So, I mean, I guess that works in their favor. If they can get up close without being spotted and obliterated, that works well. But, I mean, for RR to do the same strategy as WUSA did and actually for it to work would be the biggest kick in the groin. So, the WUSA definitely just want to hold on here. They have spread their IS3s away. So, you know, a push like this towards the valley does negate them for the first part of the fight. Those IS3s can't contribute until the lightweights will round the corner and make a target of themselves here. So we see Polswed and Lifidus as well. If you see on the mini-map, they are in the middle of the city there. They're just holding position in case anything untoward might be happening. RR have time to make a relocation, but the problem is putting an IS-3 in the valley kind of means that you're committed to it, at least in part.
Yeah, so I'm really wondering, you know, is RR just playing WUSA's own tactic against them, you know, giving them a taste of their own medicine? But you can see WUSA has no information at all. Polsved and Lidzi are going forwards in the 2 IS3s. Lydius even in the 2 IS3s. You've got Sozek there in the background in the T-37. So a 2-pronged attack from RR. A little bit risky because they don't have any middle presence, but then again, because they have that lower eastern village side towards the west, and towards the lake, they don't really have to control that middle as long as WUSA don't go through it.
Look at this, RR getting the drop on WUSA, actually going to be able to go all the way down the valley. The timing is so perfect. They managed to get here on the cap. It's almost like it's destiny. It's like it's meant to be. Stefan now is going to take a shot. Oh my lord, so much damage towards that lightweight. That's a great start for RR as they moved on towards the cap. The trap has been sprung. The diversion of those IS3s in the city has worked out. Now Polswood's going to take some return damage here as he is surrounded, but he just has to do a little bit here and hope that the lightweights do more work over on that western side here. Stefan goes down. He's finally chucked out of this one. Polswood is in trouble here. It is an overmatch for WUSA here. They will have the IS3s left standing at the end of this one, but RR, they're going to get aggressive. So aggressive as well. Look at the south. They're pushing on towards WUSA. WUSA have the health points right now, but they may not have them for long as Persista. Figo are coming forward. Hero as well wants to do some damage. They're going to go really messy, but Fighter Line at the last second gets a shot towards Figo. That's really important. WUSA are hanging on by a thread.
I think WUSA can get this one. I mean, they're definitely playing well. Spoink and FKK Schnitzel playing such a good team game together. The IS3s moved at exactly the perfect right time to take down a very aggressive, perhaps too aggressive IS3 push from RR. And now you'll see the IS3s trundle up towards that left side and deal with the T-54s.
That's beautiful stuff there, by the way. The way that they played around, that one Hero and Persista, that might be all the difference right now. They pick up FKK Schnitzel. It's now down to a 3v4 siege on the T-37. Doesn't mean huge on paper, but Derzanishta and Sumojo are very healthy in those IS3s. That is dangerous. That is warning signs coming out here. But Derzanishta, he has to hit those shots. He has to connect on towards Persista. They're going to try and gang up at him right now. RR, will they try and maybe regroup back up and see what they can do here? Still, Mojo takes a double tap. They're turning this around. WUSA, they have to make the shots. They're not doing it right now. And you can see that health is getting closer and closer. It's now dead even.
Yeah, it's so close right now. I mean, back and forwards between these two. But I would say WUSA still have it. 2 minutes and 25 seconds left. And Vitaline finds Hero. But let's be honest, it's game over. WUSA could run away. T37 and Seisha's in the background, just behind the bushes, unable to be spotted. Probably got double bushes there. And, you know, the IS-3 doesn't have any of the view range to be able to find him. So great game by WUSA, good individual play, fighting to stay in Gold Series.
Yeah, I mean, RR had almost the perfect scenario here, getting the drop on towards that northern cap. But now Prosto is a one-shot. He will go down, and WUSA, they keep themselves in it. They hang on. Their defensive side, you know, you said this earlier on tonight, the defensive side looked quite good against Oops. In fact, all of them did, to be honest, given the score of that one. But still, they're hanging on well. 3-4 though. We're one round away from going to the tiebreaker, and we're going to be heading back, of course. We're heading back towards steps for our tiebreaker.
No, we'll be heading to Mines, actually. That's my bad.
Okay, right.
So, yeah, we'll be going back on Mines. The tiebreaker was on the quarterfinals for Steps. Steps was the quarterfinals. So,
gotcha. But
we're 4-3. Still going to be tiebreak. It's still going to be match point here for RR. They made a couple of mistakes there. I thought Barista, the team captain, you know, 2,000 damage there in the T54 light. Great play. But just the pure aggression from WUSA. Good individual play as well. Great play by the T54s of Spoink and FKK to hold back a slightly passive T54 squad of RR. So despite, you know, getting that early advantage, RR couldn't make it work for them. So
now what? I mean, RR, you know, are they going to go for their Valley push now? Are we going to mix it up here? They... honestly, they seem to look like they had a spark. There were some moments. I mean, I was getting excited. It was close. WUSA, their execution is just making me nervous right now. It really is. It's just not quite there. I mean, that's kind of the reason why we're now at 4-3 between these two teams.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be the last game of the day to deliver in such a big way. I mean, you know, what are your thoughts there? Was it WUSA? Could they have done that one a bit cleaner? Do you think their setup was a bit more optimal for that, or was that just the way
they got caught literally with their pants down? Like, they were rotating at exactly the wrong time. Yep. But it turned out to be the right decision because RR used the exact same tactic WUSA had. You know, exactly the same. So WUSA rotated straight out there. They saw the IS-3. You know, they didn't kill the IS-3 like, you know, RR did in the previous round against them, but they saw the IS-3, they ran away, they got into good locations, and then it took care of way too aggressive IS-3s from RR. Like, way too aggressive. They should be in the background providing support, catching out stray tanks from WUSA. They shouldn't be there in those awful positions.
Well, let's see now if those mistakes from RR can be rectified. Their last chance, they still have a match point here. They can still make it happen. They can still qualify on the back of this one. But if WUSA win this round, we go to a tiebreaker. We go to Mines, a map we haven't seen RR on yet. We can't really comment on that one. It could go either way, but this match has gone the distance right now. Let's see if it can go that little bit further. WUSA would definitely like to hope so. Let's do it. WUSA on the defense here. RR on the attack.
Yeah, now... So let's see. We've had 2 rounds of RR doing this. We've had 2 rounds of WUSA doing the same thing. We've had 2 rounds of RR doing the same thing. Let's see if one of these 2 teams can actually play well and you know, not get caught out by the same thing. So we'll have to see. Obviously, getting a bit late in the day, fatigue setting in, and I think this is a game of attrition. You know, a game of who can keep their mind agile, keep the game alive, and keep their standard of play high. And, you know, I think WUSA has the edge there. They have the experience. They have so many series behind them, so many seasons behind them. And despite still being 1 round down, you know, the boxes below the HP bar, despite being very confusing, do represent the rounds towards the 2 teams. So RR just probing. WUSA, though, starting off exactly the same as in the previous round.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this. I'm really not. You see, the IS-3 again for RR being driven in towards that valley. So, you know, once he's there, he's kind of there. You know, there's no way you can really pull him out and go back towards the city, try for something cute. They kind of have to commit to this one. And last round was kind of the perfect scenario, really, the perfect situation for, you know, for RR to make the way on towards that cap. WUSA just left it to make some rotation at just the absolute wrong time. And even then, RR weren't able to make it happen. Yes, there were some small mistakes in execution, but still, it doesn't get much better for them than that. Let's have a look and see now. Shots come through. Blind shots, of course, towards Stefan and his compatriot there, and those 54 lightweights. And here's a push down towards the valley. They're not really set up. I mean, there's no IS-3s, just those 3 lightweights here. But let's see now the response. The spots have happened, so RR getting caught a lot earlier than they did last time. They're going to make their way right on down here and see what they can do.
Yeah, so Again, the same tactic twice. We've seen this tactic so many times today. It's unbelievable. And it's pretty surprising. We've seen similar stuff from Gold Series teams. And again, WUSA running away, being out of the equation. And I honestly think, you know, WUSA set up perfectly to deal with this. But you can see Spoik just gets absolutely wrecked.
Wow, that's not good at all there. He just, well, chunked right on down here, but this continues as Hero gets the shot. Final kill on towards Spoik there. Now FKK shits on the Stefan, forced to back away. Persistent takes 2 shots, but let's hope it was worth it here. It's Figo and Hero going off-road here, getting aggressive towards FKK Schnitzel and Stefan. Not really working out the way they might have liked it to here, but they're still going to try and make it stick. FKK Schnitzel, great focus by Prosto, even chimes in towards the end here. This could be it. WUSA hanging on yet again, like they always do. The fight in towards the city is also happening, but the lightweights are getting chunked down for WUSA. This is a little bit cleaner than we're normally seeing from RR, especially compared to last round. Lifness now getting pushed onto by 2 IS3s. He's got to pick his target well. Still Mojo gets a chunk towards him. Going fairly low with Socek now, forced to deal with Siege at. This is the original Mexican standoff. Everyone's up against their opposite number here. This is WUSA hanging on for dear life, trying to make things happen here. And Fighty Lion is still Mojo doing great work there, getting the kills. And those IS3s getting chunked down. It's only Prosto left here for RR with that IS3. Figo getting tracked out in the open. This could be very nasty. He's trying to get in a position where he can flank, can harass Fighty Lion as he looks for the reset. Great rotation from him, but will it be enough?
Figo actually has to get the track on Vitaline. He has to keep him in his place. Otherwise, Vitaline will just load HE in that with that 105mm and get the resets.
He got the reset there, and there's still Mojo and Dersinista looking to get the double tap on towards Figo. This could be going wrong for RR right now. The resets come in, and they can't make that timer go up. RR just can't get it done. This is, I'm getting flustered right now. It's so close, and yet they're still getting the resets on towards them. Frustrating stuff here for RR. They do have the 4v4. They do have the tanks to go up against WUSA, but they have Dersinista at full health. He's looking well healthy right now. 5 seconds left. Fighter Lion's not going to take any risks. He's just going to move up. He's going to get the resets. He doesn't care if he takes a bit of damage. He knows he has the time to get close, and RR, I don't think they're going to have the fuel in the tank to get this one done.
No, I mean, imagine that. They take down Spoink without losing a single thing. I mean, Spoink going left instead of going right, putting himself in the worst possible position he could do. And still RR don't manage to get the execution. And trying to go for the cap when the rest of the team are getting absolutely annihilated. Really bad play from RR. They should have just gone forwards. They should have killed Vitaline as he heading up the hill. I was sitting there like, why is Vitaline still on 100% HP? But they went for the cap. Definitely the wrong decision there, allowing their tanks in the city to get killed. And Vitaline with the HE damage just consistently hitting every single one of the shell. Great play by him.
We were 4-2. We were so close there to RR getting the win, but they're going to have to do it the hard way. They're going to have to fight through the tiebreaker. And it's going to be mines as well. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts even are on this one. It's hard to sort of predict. We've seen them on mines. Some decent matches, some average ones here, really super hard to predict.
Yeah, I mean, today we saw them, but barely. I mean, WUSA are supposed to be good on mines, but it's, again, impossible to predict. We thought it would be a lot more one-sided on Lakeville. We thought WUSA would be able to take Lakeville, but both teams literally just did the same tactic in every single round. Both teams did the same defensive tactic. Both teams did the same attacking tactic. And it's just like, yeah, so we'll give you 2 rounds. I'll take 2 rounds. We'll go on the decider. And yeah, mines. I mean, this is the perfect way for RR to either prove, you know, okay, so we're in a situation where we'll be in countless of times in Gold Series where we'll be 4-all. We'll be, you know, down. We'll be in a position where we've had to fight our way back in after being ahead. And, you know, can we prove our mettle? Are we worthy of this title?
Well, it all comes down to this as well. I mean, I don't think we've seen a more loaded tiebreaker in terms of what it means this season, how important it is. We just want to stress this to you guys as well. This is RR fighting their way up through the Silver Series now on the precipice of qualifying for the Gold Series, but they have to make it a tiebreaker. They unfortunately had 2 match points in the bag. They squandered them with some really one-dimensional play. They tried the same tactic twice. It didn't work either time. It looked like it might have been close in some ways. Big problems with their IS3s in the middle of the city there. It just didn't really go well. But WUSA is going to be defending on mines here. Yeah. So it's going to be RR to make the attack here. So let's see. I mean, if they're a team that knows how to use those islands to their advantage, it could go well for them. WUSA on defense doesn't really inspire me.
Oh, I don't know. WUSA's definitely a very slow team, and they like those defensive sides. They obviously chose the defense, so it's always a little bit worrying. I mean, personally, I prefer attacking your mines because you can get those advantages really early on. But again, WUSA can just turtle up. they can choose the right tactics, the right tanks more specifically, and just wear RR down. We've seen today a few times already a lot of these teams going for the draws on this one. So yeah, we'll have to see. Everything's on the line for WUSA, everything's on the line for RR, and you know, I think they've both been just as good as each other. I think WUSA are lucky to be in this position after the wild card. And I think RR definitely fought their way through Silver Series, and they should be able to take this crown, I think. Yeah,
I mean, WUSA are lucky to be here after coming last in the Gold Series. They have to prove their worth here, and to be fair, okay, fair enough. If you're going to gatekeep all the teams in the relegation, that's fine. I mean, you still belong in the Gold Series. You're better than the teams that were touted to sort of try and qualify through. No issue with that at all. But being taken to 5 games here, they're definitely being pressed, and it tells a lot of the story of WUSA throughout the season as well. Some super underwhelming results. The fact that this has gotten to 5 games says not only that RR are an excellent team, well deserving of being in this position, but also that WUSA, maybe aren't sort of pulling a standard that is going to be worthy of those top 6, top 7, Gold Series teams that managed to avoid relegation. So it's going to be Mines. We're going to be jumping in that one very soon. We're going to have a little bit of a rotation as well. Looks like Hero being pulled out of the lineup for RR. And we're going to see Frog, we haven't seen yet tonight, be moved up. So maybe Artillery, maybe.
Frosh will be going up. But yeah, I mean, Artillery is definitely a good point. I can see Figo's picked up Artillery. But, WUSA, it's just WUSA what they do best. They got 3 IS-3s, 2 T-54s, 3 T-54s even, and a T-37. So they're going for something very heavy. I think WUSA is going to play it very standardly. Put the IS-3s down towards that second cap. Aim towards the hill. If nothing goes on the hill, aim towards that left side, expect the T-54s to push over the left side from RR. And then if they don't see that, then set up for more of a standard defensive lineup. They will have to take into account the artilleries in the game. So maybe even an IS-3 push, kind of early mid-game would be, in order.
Okay, so we know Figo will be playing the artillery for RR. Frog, an IS-3 player, apparently. He'll be on that one here. So we are going to be jumping into this one very, very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set. The final match of the day, going to all 9 rounds. Let's see exactly what both these teams can do for us on the map of Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This game means everything to these two teams. RR, their first shot at Gold Series stardom. Will they make it, or will they capitulate at the final hurdle? The push is on towards the hill here by the looks. RR want to set up early.
Yeah, so RR going straight to the hill, but you can see WUSA already in waiting.
All these shots could be coming towards Prosto. He's being reluctant about pushing up here. He does take 1, does take 2. Will he get going? No, he backs up. RR not going to go for the hill here. They have to back away. They don't want to take too much more damage here. There's one shot in response going over towards FKK. It's also RR, not without their own options as well. But they stall up here a little bit here, and they have to wait. Will they go forward or not here? A little bit of, lag on our client here. Hopefully that's alleviated soon. Of lag actually might mean oh, that's really unfortunate.
700 latency in the worst possible time right now, but we can now only just have a slight idea. I mean, WUSA retreating back to a really defensive position. They went for those initial shots, and now the initial shots has happened. They're just wanting to get that clock down as fast as possible. Staying out of the firm view of artillery. I mean, artillery is definitely the biggest factor for WUSA. They know that if RR hits 2 or 3 shells with the M44, it will be a very, very good opening for them indeed. They will be able to push on to WUSA. They will be able to take them down.
I mean, we're lagging. We haven't dropped out, so we're going to just try and stay in here for you guys. I know it looks choppy. I know it looks ridiculous, but I mean, it could have happened at a better time. Probably not, but this is the final map, and we're going to just try and stick in it for as long as we possibly can now. You see artillery shot there, not quite going to connect on towards Steel Mojo, but you can definitely see what Figo had in mind here, just trying to keep those heavies quiet. WUSA just here, just posturing for the most part, not making any real pushes forward. You see 2 IS-3s up on the hill, proxy spots for Fighter Lion as he tries to keep that in it for the rest of his team, and there's a push towards those islands here for RR.
Yeah, that's a really normal push here. they can see that, you know, WUSA have 2 IS3s, so realistically a right side push wouldn't be a great idea, especially against Zenix and Vitaline and obviously, you know, Spoink in the background. So I think this is very logical for them. 3 T54s over that left side, and Siege actually might just be caught out. He doesn't get the right timing there, and he's got to back away as quickly as possible. He is in the middle of no man's land in that slow marshy water. Okay, checklist of how to win mines. RR going to tick another item off that one there as they move on towards the Western Islands. They are set up for this one here, and this is good. This is how it needs to happen for them. But a lot of WUSA's forces being kept back at the K4, and we don't want to see these lightweights of RR push up there and just get eliminated here. So let's see what they decide to do. Lag is subsided, thank God. If KK Schnitzel does go down, that's a great little kill by Socek there. And shots coming in from the side from the hill as well. This could get a little bit ugly for WUSA right now, as their hiding spot might be turned against them. As a good vantage point is being taken up on that hill. Persista and Frog doing some serious work now. Going to make WUSA dance a bit. Yeah, WUSA just playing really, really passively, right? And normally when you have a western side push, the defensive team pushes on the hill. So it basically means that you can't peek on the hill that much, you can't get the shots, but WUSA just sitting back, waiting for that clock to go down, and yeah, Siege just received 622 damage from Figo. That is incredible, and that, honestly, might be the fat lady warming up with a few bars here for RR. That's a great start for them. Still a little bit behind in health, but they do have the tank advantage. That could mean everything right now. Polswood moves up, gets a finish on towards Siege, but he's going to take a bit of damage as a result. Ooh, the track on towards Still Mojo. That could be important right now. Polswood pays dearly for pushing up right now. And you see RR falling behind in health points a bit. Shots towards Still Mojo. Lifidus just trying to get it done. Prosto as well off in the distance now. So much map control for RR right now, but it's what they do with it that's important. And Polswood will get finished off here. Stefan takes some damage as a result. It's 5v6. Ooh, the hit there from the artillery didn't quite connect on towards Stefan, but Still Mojo getting battered in this corner. Yeah, Still Mojo not playing well right now. I think it was pretty brave for him to take down a T54, and of course 100% necessary, but you know, if that T54 had sat there, Stefan and Still Mojo would have probably been taken down by artillery eventually. It's just a perfect position. So yeah, very ballsy play from WUSA. They knew what they had to do. And you know, that T54 going down and FK Schnitzel dying early on in the game for basically nothing. WUSA are fighting. They've been, you know, on a comeback, a war path since, you know, being 4-2 down. They've won every single round so far. And 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. RR got dismantled right now. And, you know, they do have to bring something. They have to really innovate here to be able to win this one. And you can see that T54 all the way over towards the right side is where they want to come from. And still, those 2 IS3s on the hill can do so much work. WUSA's hopes for the gold series are on the line here. If they have to camp, they will. They will sit back and wait for time to run out. RR have to come forward. They have to prove themselves right now. That's not a great start. Socha getting double tapped there. Shot from an IS3 does collide with him now. And he finds himself pinned behind his building. But there's a response. Vitaline takes 728 damage in such a short period of time. Spoink's coming forward now towards Socek. He has a 1v1 right now. Derzanisha can't help out. Spoink's trying to force Socek out in the open, but it's not working. He has to go 1v1. WUSA can't afford to take those fights right now. Health is so even. Persista goes down. Frocto gets the finish on towards the fight line. Socek does drop down, but it's still Mojo up there. Derzanisha now is going to be surrounded in just a moment, and Frog's looking for him. Spoink's going to get forced out of this position here. RR have to dot their I's. They have to cross their T's. They have to say their prayers right now and make sure everything works as it should. Figo can't do much in the M44 right now, but Derzanisha's going to get double tapped anyway. This is fantastic for RR. They're going to even up their health point total. This is looking good. What are WUSA doing? It's only Derzanisha in the middle of it all right now. Still Mojo was out of position. He couldn't do anything, and he might have just watched his team's hopes for gold series fade away in front of his own eyes. Stefan and Still Mojo just weren't in the game at all, leaving some bad play by WUSA on towards that right side basically in favor for RR. Frog takes down Still Mojo, leaving Stefan and 1 minute left for WUSA's hopes alive. He has to stay alive for 1 minute. Otherwise, that's it. WUSA have to move down towards a silver series or commiserate in whatever way they possibly can. And RR will be the second team for tonight to qualify for the gold series. WUSA have hung on. They've been tenacious. They were auto-relegated. They went down to that lower series. They had to fight their way through the wildcard tournament. They did. They won that in stunning style. But now, their second hurdle, the second challenge on the way has proven to be a lot greater. And you can see Stefan's trying to get away. 30 seconds left in the clock now. Frog, Prosto looking for him. Do they have the side range? Oh no, the track on towards Stefan. That could be devastating. 589 damage. The fuel tank is damaged, and this guy is in deep trouble. He's trying to limp away. He goes down. Prosto gets the finish, and RR qualify for the gold series. WUSA are relegated. WUSA go down in spectacular fashion, and of their own accord, they threw that game head and tails. Unbelievable stuff from RR. The Polish team definitely deserve. They show they have the mentality. They show they have the steel and the stamina to get through these games. Deal with it, bro.
goes.
And despite being absolutely wrecked at the beginning of that game with some fantastic play by Still Mojo, WUSA, their biggest problem, being super static, gave the game to RR.
They're stars in my eyes. So what can I say? I'm just so excited right now. That was
mate, you love those glasses.
They are. I'm a bit fond of them, actually. They don't really do much for polarization, but they're still pretty good. 5-4. RR have done it. They qualify for the Gold Series, and WUSA, so devastating for them now to sort of drop down. They worked so hard for this one, but still, it was key errors that really cost them there. They threw it away, just like you said. That is that. I can't believe. I'm still speechless, really. Yeah,
but I mean, I really don't know what to say. We had a 4-2 situation where RR were this close to winning. WUSA won the next 2 rounds, and then it came back for them on mines. Everything just went their way. I have to say, RR played very well. WUSA played very shabbily in many respects. Played well in some rounds, and I think I was thinking RR are 2 or 3% better in many respects, and being on the defensive side, WUSA had it, had the advantage going for them, and they just simply didn't make it work for them. Just looking through the damage, you have 1.8k, you did Figo there with 1.3k, Frog doing 1.8k as I said, and you had Siege doing 100 in that game. FKK Schnitzel got obliterated. The star from Kazla crew sitting in the middle of no man's land.
He honestly has not been on form tonight. He has not been on form. So many games where he has really fluffed his lines, and that is definitely something for a closer inspection later on for WUSA. Still, obviously, a great sports in chat as well. Congratulations to RR coming out from them and from us, of course, because I can't wait to see how they're going to develop through the Gold Series now. They've made it through another Polish team to replace No Mercy falling down. I'm glad we're still keeping that critical mass 3 where those Polish teams are in the mix. I make no secret about the fact that I love to watch them play.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I mean, if we can bring up the bracket, that'll be good to give you guys a little bit of an idea of the road that has brought us to this point. I mean, No Mercy started off with hope in their hearts and, a fire in their eyes, making their way through, but Nakabrod just destroy them in that first round. And then Nakabrod making their way forward, getting that 5-2 against WUSA, which we did see, and they were the first team to qualify.
Yeah, Nakabrod, definitely a great team. They weren't tested too much today, it seemed to me. Maybe against No Mercy slightly, but they'll be playing off stream. Obviously, the grand final, Nakabrod and RRs, just for seeding purposes. Those two have qualified 100% for Gold Series. Obviously, the winner of that will be in 9th, and the loser will be in 10th. So, a very disappointing result for WUSA. I think they need to go to Silver Series. I mean, 12th place for WUSA in the regular season. Not winning against RR here in the relegation is just indicative. It's a clear sign to Siege's team that maybe it's better that you do drop down for one season and you do get those intrinsic problems sorted. Well,
if they weren't sure at the end of the season, they are now. I mean, on a final note, as we start to wrap things up here, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Nakabrod and, of course, RR for making their way towards the Gold Series. This is exactly what we want to see in a relegation. Some fresh blood coming up here. 3 new teams will be joining us next season. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we're going to be breaking after this show for a little while, a couple of weeks. We'll be back, of course, with our Season 1 finals here live in Cologne. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, 19th of September. You can sign up on World of Tanks EU. Come and join us. We'll be hanging out. Hopefully we get some good weather. We got a barbecue outside. You can watch the games there, eat some food, eat some good food, have some beverages, and watch some great World of Tanks action. We're having 2 semi-finals. And, of course, the finals, which will be best of 13. So we got Team Supreme, amazing team. Can't wait to see what they can provide in an offline environment. I mean, we've always got that thing where, GG World Plague flunked out of the Season 5 finals, and we've got very similar lineup there. We've got Tornado Rocks, freshly qualified for the Silver Series, impressive season that they got 2nd. Of course, we got the old dogs, Virtus Pro, managing to beat Kansas Crew in that pre-playoffs. And finally, it's a surprise story in the Dark Knights, really. That's Pentasports.
Absolutely. Pentasports making their way through. I'm excited for that one, guys. You should be too. If you're in the area, do as he said. Get on the website, sign up, come down, have some barbecue with us, and come and say hi and watch some fantastic games. But ladies and gentlemen, until then, thank you so much for joining us. Good night and good game.